Bonjour. Now, welcome back. Last week, we began unit number 5. Now, we started our unit by talking all about this thing called the Renaissance, a rebirth of interest in art and learning. Now, last week, we really focused on the art component of it. This week, we're going to focus on the learning component of it. Now, not only were artists inspired to create new things, have a rebirth of interests, but so were people who are interested in the mind. Now, what we are going to talk about today is the growth of science. For the very first time in Europe, science began to grow. So today's topic, Galileo and the scientific revolution, all focused on this. Now, I'd like to imagine that you are sitting at your computer right now dancing along with me. You better have been Freddie Acosta. I know you were. Now, kiddos, the way that we are going to learn about today's topic is actually one of my all-time favorite ways. What am I going to do for you is let me get rid of the hackers, are going to perform for you a play. Now, this play is called The Scientific Revolution, a play. I've broken it down into 3 scenes for you. At the end of each scene, make sure to answer the questions. But without further ado, kiddos, I present to you The Scientific Revolution, a play. Scene 1, early scientific discoveries. Galileo Galilei was an Italian scientist and astronomer. He was greatly influenced by the works of Nicholas Copernicus, most importantly, his heliocentric theory. The heliocentric theory stated that the sun, not the earth, was at the center of the universe. The planets revolved around the sun. In scene 1, we find Galileo discussing some of his findings with his friend and fellow scientist, Johannes Kepler. Johannes, so good to see you. I wanted to show you some of my recent experiments. Experiments? Don't most people learn from reading or simply observing things? Oh, Johannes, get with the times. It's the late 1500s. All the cool kids are experimenting. Let me show you. Check this out. Which of these 2 do you think will hit the ground first? Galileo. It's obviously the rock. It's heavier after all. Ha ha! Or so you thought. See? They both hit the ground at the same time. Do it again! Do it again! Not now. I have another thing to show you. Now check this baby out. Now what on earth is that? It's not what on earth. It's what in space. It's a telescope. I can see all the planets of the solar system with this thing. Ew, I can see your boogers. Oh, knock it off! Dang, that telescope is dope. Let me borrow it sometime. Yeah, it's awesome. It totally helped me prove Copernicus's heliocentric theory. But I guess the church heard about it, and they aren't happy. So do me a favor, keep it on the down low. Scene 2, Galileo's trial. Unfortunately for Galileo, the church found out about his scientific experiments and theories. Church officials immediately banned his book of scientific findings. Then they had Galileo arrested and put him on trial as a heretic. In scene 2, we find Galileo defending his scientific theories. So, Galileo, science is fun. Science is great. Certainly, God gave you an amazing talent, but... Yes? We have a couple of problems with your whole sun at the center of the universe thing. Well, technically, that was Copernicus's idea. But my experiments proved him right. Isn't that awesome? Actually, Galileo, that's not awesome. I mean, you believe in God and read the Bible, right? Yeah. Why do you ask? Well then, you've heard of David, right? The guy who chucked the rock at the giant's head? Yeah. Great, then you must have also heard about his son, Solomon, the wisest man to ever walk the earth. Duh. Well, Solomon, again, the wisest man to walk the earth, clearly stated, the sun rises and falls. That means the sun moves, Galileo. Well, actually, funny you should say that. What you're explaining is actually just the result of an optical illusion. It's not the sun that's moving, it's the earth rotating around the... Heretic! Are you saying the Bible is wrong? Not really. I'm just saying that Earth goes around the sun. And I've proven it with my telescope. Silence, heretic! We have all the evidence that we need. You are clearly influenced by the devil himself. I sentence you to death. Whoa, dude. Chill. Can't we talk about this for a second? Okay, fine. How about this? You take back everything you've ever said. Pinky promise that you don't mean it. And we'll lessen your sentence to, house arrest for the rest of your life. Deal? Well, that sucks. But I suppose that's fair enough. I take it all back. Scene 3. Later, scientific discoveries. From the 1500s to the 1700s, scientists built on the advances of Copernicus, Kepler, and Galileo. These scientists made significant advances in medicine, astronomy, and physics. In this scene, we find 4 very important scientists describing their scientific discoveries. Gentlemen, yesterday I was sitting in my garden, and you'll never guess what went down. Oh, Isaac! You, Francis Bacon, and I are all Englishmen. You know we love the tea. So spill it! Okay, so here's the chisme. I was minding my own business, sitting under an apple tree, and then BAM! Out of nowhere, I get hit in the head. I can check that out for you. I am a doctor, after all. Any blood? No, no blood. But something definitely went down. It was an apple. It fell out of the tree and drilled me right in the head. Oh, wow. So interesting. Worst chisme I've ever heard. Quiet down, Francis. Don't you all know what this means? It proves the existence of gravity, the force that causes all things to stay down on Earth. Now you're speaking my language. I love things that are down to Earth. More specifically, things that are down dead on the Earth. Have I told you all that I've been dissecting bodies lately to see what's inside? Cool, huh? OMG, Andreas. I have the perfect invention for you. I just created this tool. I call it the microscope. You use it to see microscopic things. With the microscope, I've discovered these tiny little things called cells. We should use it to find Robert's brain. Oh, shush, Francis, you big bully. What have you done for science? Well, since you mention it, I've just created this thing I like to call the scientific method. In order to do science properly, you must follow the 5 steps of the scientific method. The steps are observe, hypothesize, predict, test, and modify. In the end, if your scientific experiment is proved, you have created scientific law. Francis, I must admit, that sounds pretty dope. Now let's go to my garden and wait for some more apples to fall. I'm starving. Now, kiddos, first off, am I going to quit my job and go to Hollywood? Maybe. Am I going to make millions? Maybe. But more importantly, did you all just learn a bunch of important stuff about the scientific revolution? You absolutely did. Now, kiddos, what you're going to do, answer these questions, submit. I think you are going to crush this one, and I can't wait to see you all back later on this week.